In this video, I'm going to show you how to use ZRemesher to get proper topology on your high detailed sculpts. So if you were using a piece of geometry that didn't have good topology, or you're using Dynamesh and you've got your model up to a point where it's got good detail, but you need good topology for deformations, for animation, whatever the case may be, I'm going to show you how to use the ZRemesher and ZRemesher guides to go through your model, and I'm going to do it for our Madball character here and do it only for the body and ZRemesh that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to the subtool, and again, this technique and how to use the tools could be applied to any subtool in here. It depends on if you want to get it remeshed properly or get the right topology. It depends on how much time and effort you want to put into it. But I'm going to go do this for the body. So I'm going to select the body. I'm going to hide all the other subtools. I'm going to duplicate it. And I'm going to rename this subtool. I'll call this one remesh. And then I'll come down to the bottom one. I'll rename that one. And this one I'm going to call detail. There we are. So I know which one I'm going to keep, and keep all the high sculpt detail, and then the other one is what I'm going to be remeshing. So I want to make sure I select the remesh subtool. I'm going to hide the detail model, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and start putting some guides down for the ZRemesher. So I'm going to kind of zoom in. I'm going to come up to the top, brush, come towards the bottom, ZRemesh guides. So what this does is it allows you to put guidelines on how ZRemesher will topologize, and you want to think about proper topology for the face. So circulars from the eyes, ovals for the, or circular geometry for the mouth, for the arms, all that. So this is where you start laying down those principal guidelines to get proper topology out of the ZRemesher. Make sure you have symmetry turned on, so X, hit S. We'll always work with a smaller brush size, so 7, 8 should be pretty good. The other thing I do is go up to stroke and turning on lazy mouse, and a radius of 3 or 4 should be pretty good, so you get a little bit cleaner lines. And let's just start with the eye here. So I'm just going to draw out what I want the topology for the eye to be. There we go. So you can see I went around, and if you start from the beginning and end up all the way back to the end, should lock up, and that's a good edge loop. You get this developed. There, let's do another one. Get a good angle here. And let's get one for the eyelid. That's pretty good. Oop, no, kind of dips. See how that dipped right there? So I'll hit Control Z, undo it, and I'll just apply it. And I might have to move a couple times because it didn't like it when I got to right about here. I got to change my angle. And then now I get back. And that was a lot better, a lot cleaner. Let's do one for the Robin mask. So I'm going to come over here, stop right in the middle of the model. It will try to snap. And I will come down here. Go around this way and that way. Nice little Robin mask going on there. And let's try the lips. So I'm going to go along this top ridge here for the lips. It's looking pretty good. I'll do another one for good measure. I might have to stop, remove, and then we'll come right to the end there. That's pretty good for the face. Now I could come around and do a little cross like this to get good topology there between the eye and the lips. Let's see, you could even come up here and add a few to the top. Now, once you've got the face done, you want to move on to the body. Now, if I had a normal humanoid model, I would have an edge loop going around the deltoids and then going around the pectoral muscles of the human form, so you get the nice cake geometry. So I would definitely put that, but for this character it's not so much. Another thing you want to do is also do the arms. You want to see if you get good geometry kind of cutting through edge loops, and you want to do it in about 3 or 4 spots along the arm, and also for the leg. So this is the same technique you would want to do for that. So let's come in here, let's zoom in, and let's kind of cut right through here. Let's start at the top, go to right about here, move, pick up where you left off, keep going, and then try to head back to the same spot. And there you go. That's not bad. A little loop. And you just want to keep doing that along the arm. You can even do that around the fingers. Now there is a technique of doing it, and I always have a problem with it, but you can play with it, where the guidelines will try to do the edge loop for you. And the way you do it is by using the shift key. So first, don't press any keys, draw out your line, and then hold shift and drag out, and it will try to loop around, but it's always, I always find it kind of laggy on geometry that's really high poly, and it normally doesn't do a good job. As you can see, what it's trying to do is do this edge loop all the way around. So that's up to you if you want to use that technique. Let me try it one more time. I'm going to hold shift, or no, don't press anything, sorry. Draw it out, hold shift, and then I'm trying to go in reverse. Back up, and it don't like me. Oh, it kind of did it, see it? So I can try it one more time. Draw it, hold shift, and drag out. Nope. So again, you can try it, see if it works for you. You just have to draw it, and then once you start drawing it, hold shift, and then try to draw out that edge loop. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So me, I just find that manually doing it works out the best, and it's a little bit more tedious, but I get the results I want. So there you go. So I did another one, and again, I will keep doing that for the legs and the arms. So I'll just do one for the legs here. I'll try the Z. Hold the shift and see if I can do that. And oh, yeah, it kinda almost did it, which is kind of cool, but didn't work out. So I'm just going to draw it again. And the reason why we're doing this is because ZRemesher, when it comes to objects that are like cylinders for like arms and legs, it sometimes makes spiral geometry where it's one constant edge loop going around and around like a swirl all the way down the leg or down the arm. And that's just becomes harder in other programs to manipulate the polygons especially for rigging, or if you want to kind of change some parts of the model, it really becomes very tedious on trying to fix your model. So we just want the proper topology to get this done right. So as you can see, I'm kind of starting through. I'm going to pause it. I'm going to finish this up so you get an idea of how far I went with this. I'm back, and you can see how far I went with it. I went in there and I added a couple more to the face, really got down here, got the bottom corner jowls, the leg. I even made some vertical lines down the legs and around the foot, came down the arms, and even did a few on the fingers. Did some around where the socket for the arm, and really defined a lot of the geometry that I want, the proper topology that I'm looking for this particular character. And you just really got to spend some time in the guidelines, the ZRemesher guidelines, to get what you want. So once I've gotten this far and I'm happy with what I have, it's time to use the ZRemesher. So again, make sure in the subtool you got the right subtool clicked on, go down to geometry, find ZRemesher. There we are. Pretty much I leave it default. The only thing I change most of the time is I leave adapt alone, target count. Right now it's force actually pretty high. I'm going to go down to 1. So 1 point. Sometimes you just have to click on it. 1.1. There we go. So it's down to target polygons count 1. Now here's the thing. This guy is about over 8 million polys. So for the project, you always have to look at your project and what the polygon count is. For this project, for the creature project, it's about 15 to 18,000 polygons, so quads. Again, so that's what you want to shoot for. So I'm shooting for about 10 to 12 polys. So again, this is trial and error on the ZRemesher right here to get the target you want. So you might have to play around with it to get what you want. I'm going to try 1 and see where that gets me. So I'm going to hit the ZRemesh button. It's going to go through, and this usually takes a little bit of time, so I'm going to pause the video and we're going to come back to it. Alright, I'm back, and we can take a look at the subtool here. And here he is, the remeshed. Looks like he's at 8,166 polygons, which is not. I was definitely shooting for a little bit more. Maybe I can go back to ZRemesher and bump the number up a little bit more. But I was looking at it. Let's just hide all the other subtools. And I was looking at them. Let's turn on polyfix. It actually had some decent topology. I got the topology around the eyes I'm looking for, around the mouth. Really looks good around the chin. Looks really good around the deltoids and the fingers and the legs and the feet. So, and on top of the head. So I got some good topology going on there that I like. So I'm happy with the process so far, and the next step is to actually take all the detail from our highly detailed sculpted model onto our low Z-remeshed model, so we get everything on one subtool. Alright, so that's what we'll be doing in the next video, is projecting all the high resolution detail onto the lower geometry.